Good evening. Welcome to the Select Board's meeting on August 15th, 2024. Jamie is down south with her son's graduation. She won't be here tonight. So first, a poll hearing. National Grid, are you here? Yeah. Okay,
We need them?
see if you come back. What's that? We need that, right?
Yeah, typically, yeah, they're the applicant. I've never had them not show up, so.
Okay,
Come
take
later.
action on the minutes for July 18th. I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes for July
Second.
18th.
Yes,
And thank you to Charleston Riggs for the annual lieu of taxes, a contribution of $16,000. Thank you very much. An appointment to the Cemetery Commission, was recommended Hugh Page be put on the Cemetery Commission. You want to do that? You
I
want?
love the idea of putting the hue on it. I do like the idea of having the announcement that there's an open seat if we haven't done that yet. And then just
Yeah.
appoint them at the next meeting unless nobody else wants it. And if somebody else wants it, we talk about it. So
Okay.
do you mind continuing it? I don't think it
No,
matters.
because our policy is when we have an opening is to advertise this. We have an opening in the Cemetery Commission. So we'll put this off to our next meeting in September. So anybody interested, just get a hold of Mike.
And this is no disrespect to
No.
Hugh. I think he'd be awesome on it. And Michael, can you make sure it gets put on the website just as the opening?
Just so we stay in tune with our policies.
Mhm.
That way there would be no appointment to Capoosa Box Stooges Committee. Did we advertise that too?
Yeah, we had
Yep.
discussed at the last meeting.
Okay.
We didn't make the recommendation. Yes.
So William,
Recitartus, Taurus, I guess.
I'll make a motion. We appoint him to the board.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Sign the warrant for the 2024 state primary. Do that.
Do I need to recuse?
No, you have to.
Sort of a joke. Yes, I'll make a motion. We approve the primary.
Second.
Not a day too soon.
Take action on one-day alcohol license for Chesterwood on
We should
September 5th, September 7th, and September 14th. I'll make a motion. We,
Second, yes.
all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, BSO request for extension of hours for September 28th and October 19th.
Hey,
You want to just come up, you can sit here or go to the podium, does it? Just introduce yourself and,
I'm Erin Poplaski. I'm the senior event manager at Tanglewood. And both of these clients requested an extension because of their late start time for religious reasons.
so what time,
Midnight till 12 a.m.
and what's the dates?
The 28th of September and October 19th, both Saturdays.
So going to 12 midnight
Yes, please.
and these are weddings?
They're both weddings, yes.
at the Lindy Center?
At the Lindy Center, correct.
And is it possible for you to keep the music indoors from 11 to 12, or is that a big deal?
Nope, we can do that. We can leave the glass doors shut.
Yeah, that's what we tend to get.
Yeah, we have,
From the neighbors.
we have extended them to 12, Chesterwood and stuff, but the thing that the music dies down at 11.
Okay.
But if you're in there and it's closed,
Yep, we'll make sure it's closed. I'll be there for both weddings, so.
All right,
Okay.
great.
Yep,
Motion approved.
I'll make a motion. We,
thank you.
Yeah, yes.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, so I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
No.
No? Because we're going so good.
Well, we don't have anybody on the signs.
Municipal sign discussion.
Oh, hi, Georgia.
Hi.
But did you want to talk?
Oh, I don't know.
So this is about the new signs that the chamber put up in different locations in the town. Just a little history that we started this quite a while ago, correct?
17.
Yeah, and we went through all the proper channels. We had our meetings, our open meetings, advertised meetings. We had site visits. We put up temporary signs, what they look like. So we went through the proper process and then we signed off on allowing the signs. And now they're up and we are just taking public comments for tonight. For and against, and then we'll.
No, I'm not against the sign, because we were looking for directory signs when I worked here. So, I'm not
They had to type on a typewriter, right?
against them, and I think they're very nice. The one I'm very concerned about is at the Civil War Monument, the Soldiers Monument, because that is, I made some notes, but that's in honor of all of our soldiers from Stockbridge that died in the Civil War. So it's a memorial. And just to go back even further, when the land was given in 1798, it was never to be built upon or occupied for any other way than as an open common.
What month was that?
I could probably tell you.
Remember?
And then in 1882, the selectmen voted that all obstructions by fences or other items on that square to be removed. So to get back to where I'm coming from is that in the 90s, when we did the streetscape, that big state sign that's now next to St. Paul's wall was in front of the monument and you couldn't see it. So we had the state move it over to next to St. Paul's wall. I feel that it obstructs the whole monument area, and I think it could be moved to a different location, which where I'm thinking of is as you're coming up Route 7 at the end or the beginning of the cat and dog fountain, where it kind of is a V shape. It could go there. It would then tell people which lane to get into. Because if I'm in the right lane and, oh, I want to go to something I see on the sign that's on the left, could be dangerous. And I think it would look really nice there with the background of the trees with this beautiful sign with all to tell you which way to go and not have it obstruct the Civil War monument. I know you've received a lot of letters regarding gold medals, but I'm here tonight to plead to see if we could get the sign moved from in front of the Civil War monument. I was even looking if we cut it down, if it could go under the state sign next to St. Paul's wall, but it would also kind of wreck the ambience. I mean, it's going to be too cluttered, I think, there. So if you're coming up Route 7, this beautiful sign would be perfect right there. And I realize it's state property, so we would have to get permission from the state. But, and I'm willing to help with that. We could get that particular sign moved because I'm very passionate about it. And the town, the selectmen also didn't want any signs on like the cat and dog fountain or the Civil War monument. So I will say that somebody might have a tag sale permit when I was here and they would stick it on those. And so the police would go and take them down. And so people would have to go to the police department to find their signs because they weren't supposed to be on these two entrances.
Doug?
So, George, I just have a question. You mentioned that you believe the sign to be on the park, but I was just wondering if the sign really is in the park since it is on the south side of the sidewalk,
So
probably within the state or the town's.
the town's right, because it was much bigger, but when we
Could everyone hear his question online?
have trucks and vehicles, after this was all built, they had to make the whole intersection wider, and then they just put the crosswalk of the sidewalk within that area.
Yeah, but with that being said, that the state can't be using the park if the state doesn't own the land. So all I'm saying is I have a feeling that the park probably is closer to the monument, not necessarily closer to the road. So the restriction, I think, in theory, probably doesn't apply because.
I have the deed and I could tell you the description if you like.
Okay. We'll look at that after.
I'm just saying that I understand what you're saying, but as you're coming up Route 7, it's right there. And you lose the whole Civil War monument, which is the only second one in Massachusetts. There's one in Williamstown and there's one in Stockbridge. So I mean, there's a lot of history there that I think we should really look into.
And I think that the sign coming up Route 7 from the south, I think would work really well for if you're traveling north on 7. But it doesn't help anybody coming down Main Street from east or west, coming down Pine Street. So the only thing is that the sign in the location you're proposing is not as effective. And we'd have to maybe put up 3 signs to cover the same type of impact.
I feel very passionate about that one. I mean, I think the signs are beautiful, as I told Barb. I mean, I think they're fantastic and they really, fit into Stockbridge, but that one is not where it should be.
That's right.
Barbara, what did the signs cost per sign?
The total of the 3 was $18,700.
So one way to Jug's point to solve this would be if we could find 12,000 to put up a sign on the 3 directions and move it to, I'm not suggesting that or proposing that. I'm just saying, look, just a comment, we went through a public process. We spent the taxpayer money. The locations were set, the design of the signs were set. I'm hesitating to, unilaterally, mandate a removal of something that we spent the money on and went through a public process on. I wish there were more people here tonight. I wish there were more people who attended our meetings in general, but everything is publicly posted. I think that we should strongly consider though, the solution that Doug just proposed, which would be, perhaps we have an eastbound, westbound and one down. I do find, to your point, that it obstructs the view of the monument, even if it is in the public right of way. But I don't want to saddle this chamber with any extra cost for a project that took them 7 or 8 years to get off the ground, not for their own fault. It's like,
Well,
so, yeah.
I would, looking back, the money was given to the chamber from the town to put up municipal signs for the town.
Yeah.
At this point, moving forward, it's ours.
Yeah.
So we've talked about that. If the select board decides to relocate, we would have to come up with the funds.
I know, that's what I mean.
Coordinate
And
it.
yeah, that's my point.
And add to the chambers.
and I'm very sorry that I did not realize this had come up.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean,
I don't look at your agenda every time you're meeting, or I don't turn into 1303. And so I do apologize, but it's something to consider that nothing should be on those 2 monuments.
Yeah.
The cat and dog fountain or that. And it really, even though the sign is beautiful, I just think the entrance to Stockbridge is look better without it there, because it obstructs the.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Josh Payron, 62 Interlaken Road. Is the Merwin House a coffee house? Do they sell coffee there? Do they sell antiques there? Is the Botanical Gardens like an Olive Garden? Is there a restaurant down there? That sign up by Tanglewood. If I wasn't familiar with this area and I saw that sign, I would think there is a village down below. It is an advertisement because as a directory, it's useless because you're in a 40-mile-an-hour zone with an intersection. And I'll tell you, 2 or 3 years ago, I went up to the north there on that roadway. A guy pulled his bicycle out of Hawthorne Street and he stopped it right in the middle of the lane to speak to somebody who stopped in a car next to him. He just dead stopped me. Here's the cars coming up over past Gold Meadows. And I'm thinking maybe this guy's going to tell him something quick and move. And I'm watching this car come up behind me 40, 45 miles an hour, and I'm tapping my brakes on. The second car comes, then the third car comes. Complete hazard to stop in a roadway. And that is what you have to do. The first time I passed it, I didn't even know there were mileage signs on it. A person going through that intersection is going to stop, or they're going to back the traffic up to take everything in. All these places here. And what you're doing is that you're not directing anybody any place because you only have a very few specific nonprofits on the roadway. you're gonna take and you're gonna have 100 cars don't go down that road that you have piqued their interest, or 200 cars or 300 cars, in the hopes that one person will say, I'm not looking for these places, but I'm gonna go into the botanical gardens and I'm gonna buy a jar of mint jelly, and the town is gonna make bazillions of dollars here. That you have people just meandering around through that roadway now. I've watched it the last 3 or 4 years. This winter or last fall, you had either children or adults stapling 30-mile-an-hour signs from the Interlake Firehouse up to the South Lake Drive Road on all the telephone poles. You got a guy down there with a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign in his yard. I watch this all the time. The people stop. They stop in front of my house. They turn around on the side road. They turn around here. They're looking for places that do not exist down there, and you have piqued their interest. And I will tell you, maybe to a certain extent, you're going to do this in Glendale and even Church Street. We need more traffic down here. I can spend 20 minutes here telling you what's happened on that roadway in a 10-year time period. The roadway is a hazard for the residents. We play dodgeball with a bicyclist. I can just keep on going through here. I turned the TV on the other day. Somebody's advertising an app for Olivia's Overlook on the news here, or it was something like that. I caught the app, but I go up over Richmond Mountain Road and there's a car lying on its side in the roadway. About half the time I go up the roadway, the cars are puking out of the parking lot. Why would people keep advertising stuff when it's not being made safe for the residents there and you don't have the parking here? And I mean, I have a lot more to say about this, but honestly, that sign is not serving its purpose and it's creating an adverse effect. I guarantee I've watched this for 3 or 4 years. I watched it yesterday. I watched it today. Out-of-state cars, they slow down. They're in the middle of no place like this, looking for places that do not exist there. And you're piquing their interest and you're just meandering the cars all over town and for nothing. The residents don't need all these vehicles down there looking for places that really don't exist. I haven't had anybody ask me where the botanical gardens or any places up this year. And usually people ask me all the time. And the year before I was asked where 51 Park Street is over in Lee. So, I mean, I think a good percentage of these people know where they're going, but this here is just going to have people meandering the cars around and just making traffic situations worse.
Anybody else here? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, seeing none. With all this information we got tonight, all these letters, I'm going to make a motion. We continue this meeting.
Well, can we just, before we do that, can we and we did get, about 20 letters from folks?
The cultural institutions and a lot of the businesses downtown who say that they always ask, where's the Norman Rockwell Museum? How do you get to it? So they realize that having directional signs is wise to have. I know that some of the concerns were the font size on the signs. I know the one in front of the cemetery is hard to see, especially with the tree and the shadows. And we can work with that with our sign designer too, going forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my concerns.
I mean,
But our cultural institutions all are in favor of it because we're in a town that we don't have signage, or very little signage.
Yeah, we got letters for and against, which I would like to read all of them and take my time to go with
are
it.
these are in the packet, right?
These are in the packet.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we could also find out any costs, any.
Yeah, we'll look into-
All options are.
For our next meeting, look into the 3 signs. We can look into different options and see what we got. And then sometime later on in the end of October, November, we'll bring this up after the tourist season.
Chucky, this is Tom. I'm sorry I wasn't able to connect. I had trouble with the audio, and I know you ended up the public comments. I'm just wondering.
No, we haven't quite yet.
Okay.
I'm going to right now, though. No, go ahead.
How's your vacation, Tom?
Yeah, I'm away. I'm wondering if I could just offer a few comments about.
Yes, you may.
Thank you very, very much. So I know there are concerns about all three of the signs, but I want to speak specifically about the sign at the corner of Hawthorne Road and 183, right at the entrance of Gould Meadows. To me, this is one of the most spectacular views in Stockbridge, in fact, in all of Berkshire County. Speaking of taxpayers' money, the town bought the Gould Meadows. Private money was contributed. It's a combination of state and town and private contributions. The contributions went into a fund at the Conservation Commission. And as it happens, it was a public meeting, but many abutters didn't know about it, including the Gould Meadows group that oversees the stewardship group at Gould Meadows. They didn't know about it. Conservation Commission didn't know about the public hearing. And there's some very strong feelings that this sign, and the intention is certainly well-meaning, but blocks the view of Gould Meadows and of the bowl. It blocks the view of the Mary Flynn Memorial Bench right there at the corner. And it just feels to me like this is an inappropriate blockage of a natural beauty parkland that was bought by the town and state funds, and people contributed to it. And yes, it was a public meeting, but people were really, frankly, caught by surprise by this, including the committee that has devoted hundreds of hours to maintaining Gould Meadows. And besides which, I do feel that it's a safety hazard right there. A close colleague of mine stopped there and to really have a close look at the sign. And while he was stopped, 2 cars almost ran into him, because people come down 183, they make a quick left turn onto Hawthorne Road, and boom, there's a car that's stopped there to read the sign. And the inscriptions are such that you can't really read those directional signs from a moving car. You have to stop to look at it. So both from a safety point of view and from an aesthetic point of view, for one of the really, truly magnificent views in Stockbridge that Mary Flynn worked so hard to get, to raise the private money to match the state money, to block the view of the Mary Flynn bench that's right there at the corner, or people who, to me, it's just a very unfortunate placement of that sign. So I do recognize that there was a public process here. People should have been notified, but frankly, not all of us really watch the agendas that closely. And people feel very strongly about that view and that public space and that naturalness there, that a large sign such as this in that location is just simply inappropriate. And so I do hope that a way can be found to move that sign to a different location. And
Okay,
I know
thank you.
there are a number of people who feel strongly about it. I know that George Wislocki wrote a letter. I'm sorry if I missed the first part of it, but I know that the Berkshire Land Trust voted unanimously to have the sign removed or changed location. And I think in honoring Mary Flynn, frankly, that sign is inappropriately placed. So I really urge you to reconsider the location there. And I know that, money was spent, and with good intentions, and taxpayers' money has been spent. But notwithstanding all that, I think a strong argument can be made that really this sign should not be in that location.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll make a motion that we continue this.
Do you want to set a meeting do you want to do it?
Yeah,
If you look at October, we could do the 3rd, 17th, or November 7th.
Let's do You want to do the second one in October or November 7th?
Up to you.
Let's do the second one in October.
All right, so we can put it on the agenda for the October 17th meeting.
Yeah. Now,
Gather
time,
information on it and
October 17th.
October 17th.
Then we'll look into all our options and stuff and all that. We'll come up with a good decision. Okay, thank you, everybody. Umbrella signs on Main Street. So this was brought to our attention. Underneath our jurisdiction, I believe. A couple of umbrellas, they have Coke signs on them at the Main Street Market. I don't see an issue in it. They're not advertising a business or anything. And it's kind of more micromanaging anything else. So I was make a motion that we just,
Well,
you can say something, yeah.
I think that, that we just went through updating the sign bylaw, and if the planning board wants to further update it, that's in their purview.
Yeah.
And if we want to, place, further limits that are ambiguous, I think it should entirely be up to the town to do that.
Yeah.
I recognize that we are the enforcement, body for signs, but, where there's ambiguity here, I think that it would be best to deal with this, through an amendment by the planning board if they so desire. And otherwise, I think we would let it go like it is.
Yep.
So right now, as far as for currently, we're going to allow the signs or the umbrellas to be used.
But I mean, I see Maria's here and I just saw Kate in the background. If you guys feel strongly about this, I'm not averse to changing the bylaw. I think you guys just went through a sign process and it's easy enough to amend it. I defer to your judgment.
I'm not on the planning board anymore.
Oh, you're not? Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll inform the building department that as of right now, we're not going to force those as a violation of the temporary sign.
Okay, IMA Lee Stockbridge EMS, Mike.
So, back when we began the process of, looking at the town's, EMS, and we're talking with the town of Lee, myself and Chris Britton, the town administrator from Lee, we did approach our federal delegation about what we were up to and what we were trying to do. And we were able to receive a $1 million grant from the United States Department of Agriculture. Since then, the two towns have decided we're still in support of each other. Anybody that thinks we're not going to be working together, it's just we came up with a different format to move forward. And what we need to do is come up with a way of splitting up the program. The program is going to Lee. So what we're doing is Stockbridge was going to receive 30%. Our contribution into that project was 30%.
Right.
So what we've agreed to in principle, and the town of Lee has agreed to, is that they would lower our allotment toward EMS fire by 100,000 for 2026, 150,000 for 2027. And they would also turn over their surplus ambulance to the town of Stockbridge. And it ends up being total compensation back to Stockbridge of 300,000. So if you guys were to sign this, this allows us, as we begin working toward ourselves with the EMS committee that will be meeting next week, as we build toward hopefully having our own EMS system in Stockbridge, which of course would be backing up Lee and Lee would be backing up us. So it's still a partnership.
So, I just want to thank you because just to put this in perspective, this hard work towards shared services, we have a meeting, we put together a federal grant. That basically saves the taxpayers this year. This is directly off the expense of the town, and a $300,000 package is the equivalent of 3% of the taxes for a year, based on kind of the residential part of the property tax, actually a little bit more. And that amounts to, on the average tax bill, about $150. So I think this guy just saved all of us an average of $150 by applying for that grant. And I think that's awesome news. Thank you. And that, that whole EMS shared services thing that you guys have been working on, we've all been working on. I think that this is a great indication of, of achievement. And so thank you.
Okay, Church Street easement.
Wait, we have a question?
I just had a question. So in this agreement, it says, within 60 days, we'll receive the ambulance.
Yeah.
Where is it going to be stored?
We're still working on that. It is something.
I have a spare driveway if you need to park it.
That's the only piece that I don't have answered yet. We have some time here before winter settles in to figure out where we'd have to leave things to store it.
And the reason we put that in is it's right before Halloween and we thought we could do a kind of a good theme with it, kidding.
Okay, Church Street easement. This was just finishing up something that was
Motion to, yeah.
started quite a while ago.
Motion to approve the IMA.
I'll make a motion to approve the IMA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And the Church Street easement,
Yeah.
which we started just quite a while ago and kind of fell through the cracks.
Yes, this was, well, before COVID, there was, on Church Street, 2 easements that the town had passed. It was Article 23. I believe it was the 2019 town meeting. The plans had actually begun in March of 2017. There was a draft plan prepared, and the town had voted to approve the issuing of these easements, authorizing the selectmen to do it. We finished up, we had to take it from a draft to a final copy, and then we drew up the language for the actual easements, which you have before you, have been vetted by town council. And this just brings a project that was approved at town meeting and needed to move forward.
Oh, sure.
I just need a motion to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.